a former Cold War uranium site in Ohio, is being turned into one of the biggest AI campuses ever planned, and Nvidia is now promising to help cover as much as $105 billion of the bill. Welcome to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition, the podcast created by Generative AI. It's August 18th, 2026. I'm Trent Teller, and here are the stories worth your attention today. This episode is brought to you by Stock MVP. Stock MVP helps you invest like the pros using data-driven insights. Find the link in the episode notes. We'll start with the scale story. Nvidia has agreed to guarantee up to $105 billion in lease and power obligations for OpenAI's planned data center campus in Pike County, Ohio. The project is expected to land somewhere in the range of 4 to 10 gigawatts, which would make it one of the biggest AI-focused compute sites ever attempted. Nvidia is also investing roughly $1.5 billion into the SoftBank-backed energy entity behind the build. The big takeaway is simple. The AI race is no longer just about better models. It is about locking down power, land, and physical capacity before someone else does. That same theme showed up elsewhere in the market. AI infrastructure company Grok raised another $350 million as it expands inference capacity across multiple data centers. And on the software side, Stripe has finalized a deal to buy OpenRouter for more than $7 billion. OpenRouter acts as a gateway that lets developers switch between models and handle billing through one interface, so putting that layer inside Stripe gives the company a meaningful new position in the AI stack. Add in Anthropic telling investors that its annualized revenue run rate hit $65 billion by late July, and you get a picture of an industry that is consolidating fast while still growing at remarkable speed. There were also important moves around AI training data and copyright. ByteDance has reached what is being described as Hollywood's first formal AI copyright framework with the Motion Picture Association. Instead of leaving everything to court fights, this creates an actual structure for how studio content can be used and how rights and compensation are handled. Japan is moving in a similar direction with a proposal that would require generative AI companies to disclose information about their training datasets. Together, those developments suggest the industry is moving from vague arguments about fair use to much more concrete rules about licensing, transparency, and accountability. And one related twist stood out. Google has reportedly bought a large operational dataset from the bankrupt Spirit Airlines estate, with personal identifiers removed before transfer. The reported purchase is not about flying planes. It is about getting access to a large body of business records, internal communications, and software code that could be useful for training or fine-tuning AI systems. Even with data scrubbing, it raises a bigger question. As AI companies hunt for more material, what kinds of corporate data become fair game once a company collapses or gets sold off? In security news, Apple sent a record wave of spyware threat notifications to users in 110 countries. These alerts are meant for cases where someone may be targeted by mercenary spyware, the kind usually associated with state-linked surveillance or commercial hacking vendors. Digital rights group Access Now says requests for help jumped sharply after the latest notices went out, which gives a sense of how broad the campaign was. For most people, this is not an everyday risk, but for journalists, activists, lawyers, and political figures, it is a reminder that phone security can have very real stakes. Developers had a rough day as well. GitHub suffered a global outage that hit its web services, APIs, and repository downloads, disrupting Copilot, actions, issues, and pull request workflows. For many teams, that meant lost time across coding, automation, and deployment. Then came a separate warning from researchers at Wiz, who said a GitHub Copilot Autofix patch introduced a shell injection vulnerability into Snowflake's .NET connector, and that attackers exploited it within days of the patch being merged. The broader lesson is not that AI coding tools are useless. It is that automatic fixes still need serious human review, especially when security is involved. Google also made a quieter but important platform change by shutting down its Imagen-4 standard, fast, and ultra image generation endpoints and directing developers to its Gemini image model instead. That may sound like routine product cleanup, but for developers it means reworking integrations and adjusting to a different model with different behavior and costs. It is another example of how quickly the generative AI platform layer keeps shifting under the people building on top of it. And finally, Tesla appears to be preparing for a Cybercab launch in Austin later this month. The vehicle is designed as a two-seat robotaxi with no steering wheel, relying entirely on Tesla's self-driving system. If the rollout does happen on schedule, it would mark one of the company's biggest real-world autonomy milestones so far. It would also put even more attention on the split between Tesla's camera-first approach and Waymo's more sensor-heavy strategy. Austin may end up being one of the clearest public tests yet of how much trust passengers are willing to place in fully driverless rides. Thanks to our sponsor, Prezi. Prezi helps you create stunning AI-powered presentations in minutes. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the tech briefing for August 18th, 2026. Thanks for listening to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition. I'm Trent Teller, and I'll be back tomorrow with more.